Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to VidaneTV NEP Night in America and parts of Canada. Night number 2 this week here. We had the All-Star race last night. Tonight, doing a little road course racing here at Daytona International Speedway, the virtual Daytona International Speedway. As always, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. in the production trailer, pushing all the buttons, yelling into the microphone, and bringing all the action to you live. And as always on Thursday nights with these NEP races, the other voice of the NEP series, easy enough for me to say, Aaron Creed, Aaron. I almost smashed 2 words in together at the same time there. I guess that shows how I'm doing. How are you doing tonight, Aaron?
Aaron Creed's doing all right.
Aaron Creed, that's right.
Yeah, a definite change of scenery for today. We're back in the trucks. We're doing some road racing, and we've gone from Connecticut to Florida. So that's quite the change of plans from one day to the next. Maybe not if you're living in current time. Maybe not a big change in the weather, but not much of a change up front though. Kenny Kibbe wasn't with us last night, but he picks up where he left off with these road courses. Starting on the pole, Steve Daddio starting outside. He was a runner-up last night.
There you see the Tundra kid there, the Flow Racing number 26, Brent Roy. Teammate John Peters in the 09 car going to be on his outside or inside, depending on which side of the track you're on.
think it'll be inside because they go left first, if I remember correctly. But we got Jeffrey Bradway and Dale Glessner making up row number 3. See, the 3 in Bradway's truck is a little covered up there by the contingencies, but we'll be able to make them out pretty well. And there's John Miller, and it looks like Speed Racer tonight, Zane Farrell with that helmet.
A couple of guys that have had some speed the past couple of weeks. Interesting colors there for Corey Casagrande. I'm not sure if that's his paint scheme for realsies or not, but he's going to be rolling off P9. Mario Ricolano, Super Mario, he was going last night, going to roll off P10.
Yeah, Mario's going for his second straight points podium. Jason Ricker and Ryan Libby in row number 6. We saw them running toward the front last night. We continue on. There's Mike Hopkins. Captured a third-place finish. He was pretty elated with that. We'll see if he can carry on that luck with him. And there's Dan Winter, the Window World Winter Pit Products ride, starting in 14th.
Yeah, great to have them on board for the season here in the NEP SuperTrucks season. Bobby Shipney 04 going to roll off P15. There you see Nick Miller and the 71, the 1729 Inc. car going to roll off P16.
Yes, I think that's his second start. We'll also see a second start for Kyle Burkholder, a pair of 27s on this row. And there's Jeffrey Brown starting in 18th, and he might be joining us for some commentary once again.
He will be once we go green.
Yeah, and there you see row number 10, Ryan Messer, starting pretty deep in the field this week. And Keith Lord is back with us for the second night in a row. So we're getting ready to go green. We're going to go green into the tri-oval here, and then we make a pretty abrupt turn left.
Yep, that's about as far as I know how to do some road racing. We are green here at the Daytona International Speedway, the road course action, and man, oh man, they are going a million wide in turn number 1. You saw the 6th truck of the Screaming Eagle pointing in the wrong direction. I believe Brent Roy was pointing in the wrong direction there as well. Once we cross the stripe, we'll get timing. It's going to pick back up again, but this is going to be interesting. We've talked about the road racing before here on VidaneTV. It's always neat to throw the short track attitudes, the short track personalities and skill sets out onto the road course, especially in these great big heavy trucks. And how about John Peters making easy work there? Jeffrey Bradway, he's going to move right up to P3.
Yeah, very, very great pass right there. This is going to be very interesting because I think everyone that qualified about 21st on back or 19th on back didn't register a qualifying time. So we might have some faster trucks toward the back trying to make their way toward the front. Arsal's one of them that I believe he just sent us his notes, so I guess his internet's back and he was able to make the start. So good to have him there. I'm actually about to download our race notes so that we have a little bit more information. But right now, looks like the one out front is Kenny Kibbe, and then it's Stephen Daddio and John Peters battling for second.
Yeah, and early on in these races, a lot of times you'll see these trucks and these cars that race here at the RC, the road course here at Daytona. They get kind of spread out relatively easy, and this is one of those tracks that some of these drivers, more than half the field really, with this NEP series, they kind of know the track a little bit. They ran the 24-hour race here just a few weekends ago in the iRacing world with their teammates, so they've got the muscle memory as far as running the road course, taking the lefts and the right-hand turns here at the RC. So cool to be able to take that, utilize it here in the NEP series with the trucks.
Especially since it's the Rolex layout and not the NASCAR layout. So a lot of drivers have experience, even though it's our first NEP points race with our NEP series at the Daytona road course. But yeah, the 7 of the 11 road course races have been won from the pole. And, well, our fast qualifier out front, and he's going to be tough to beat. We're going to see if some kind of pit strategy might come into play, but we might not see a ton of it.
With the stage layout tonight, we've got three stages breaks at laps 8 and 16. So that is going to make things a little bit different as far as pit strategy. It's kind of be a little bit scripted in that sense.
And we just saw off screen Jeffrey Bradway nudged himself into the tire barrier out of 4th place, so he's going to lose some ground. Looked like he just missed the corner there.
And it looks like Cody LeBlanc's not going to get further than the first lap. He's already parked his truck tonight.
A lot of drivers.
Getting
I don't want to say a lot of drivers, but a handful of drivers coming down to the virtual Florida to get some of that sunshine, some of the warm air, get a little TV time, and hang out with us here on VidaneTV, as we do all over the internet. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, all that good stuff. Let your friends and family know you're watching some iRacing action here on a Thursday night, and be sure to give us the likes, the subscribes, the shares, all that good stuff. We've been keeping an eye on the top three. Kibby's, Peters, and Daddio. They've kind of pulled away. Here's the battle for fourth and fifth. Dale Glester in the 11 trying to take it away from Jeffrey Bradway. They're side by side as they come down to the start-finish line.
Yeah, a little bit of that drafting or maybe a slingshot kind of approach there. And that still comes into play when we get on these long straightaways, doesn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it does. Trying to get through the bus stop here, but the yeah, I mean, it is a very. This is a very the skill portion of the track is where you go to the novice, but this is definitely a very interesting layout in the sense that you have these high bank sweeping corners. You're trying to get up to full song on the bankings, try to get as much pop speed as you possibly can, and then all of a sudden slam those brakes. These trucks do not brake nearly like the sports cars that these guys are used to from the 24, from the one time we ran NEP Endurance Series here. It's a very different animal.
Yeah, and Cody LeBlanc already, it looked like he was expressing some displeasure there in our Discord chat, so something must have gone down there on the initial lap, or the initial turn, I guess you could say. But I guess he's probably going to hop into the Ferris wheel that's off that backstretch, and now we see Colby Burkholder going off track. I'm going to do a little agricultural racing. We saw a little bit of that last night on the Thompson grass.
Yeah, that Thompson grass is pretty unforgiving, but it's better than the concrete wall that's behind it.
That's a fact.
Probably somewhat the same here at Daytona with, we do have some tire barriers and things like that set up on the road course. But, and of course nowadays at Daytona, that whole backstretch section is paved. So definitely some runoff here that you can kind of, I don't know if I want to say it's forgiving, but if you do miss a corner, and it might not be the end of your day necessarily.
Yeah, it could, but those tire stacks do have some mass to them, and these trucks just do not handle a front collision. A front square collision is probably a way to end your night.
Well, one of the keys to victory tonight is to minimize mistakes, and we've seen the lead trucks been able to do that so far and keep it on track. And one of the other strategies is to take care of your rear tires. So that's one thing that we're going to kind of take a look at as we continue on. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we do get 2 sets of tires, so there is that. And yeah, we'll have some of that. Paul, what is it? Sailboat fuel yellows coming out here at a couple of moments.
A little bit of the sailboat fuel. You can see this second half of the top 10, they are not able to get away from each other. You can see the 26 is right in the middle of this. Brent Roy dropping a handful of spots on the start. You can see the 41 Ercolani goes wide, as does the 46. That's going to open the door for the 78 of Mike Hopkins. He's having himself a solid run here on the road course. He's P10 right now in that 78 truck.
Yeah, Hopkins trying to keep that momentum going after his third finish, and we got Libby going around there in the corner. That's an odd place to be going around here on the road course. I think there might have been contact there.
Either contact or something broke on that 46 truck.
It looks like he is pretty far apart from the 56 of Boyer.
You can see he was up in that middle groove, kind of driving down the banking. We're still green. He hits the apron. Everything looks good.
He does drift up here. Oh.
He just...
Okay.
Yeah, that was odd. The 46 just slowed down, and unfortunately nowhere for Boyer in the 56 car to go. There you can see Libby down on pit road now. So we'll have to see if we can figure out what went down with that. But back up front, it looks like we've got ourselves a new leader. The 09 car getting around Kenny Kibbe in 4.
How about that? Because John Peters was just third a little bit ago. So our first lead change of the race, and Peters is trying to get that head of steam to kind of potentially get back into the championship hunt. Kenny Kibbe and Ryan Messer have been battling pretty hard for that. And right now, Messer we haven't seen him anywhere just yet. I think he has moved up some spots. He is being shown in 7th spot, but is 12 seconds behind the leaders. So Messer, having to start back in 19th, has some work to do continually, as we see Peters and Kibbe battling up front at the moment as they come onto the banking.
A track position being in a premium at these places, that first caution is really gonna help equalize the field.
100%, and that'll give everybody an opportunity, too, to get the 8 laps under their belt to kind of feel out the trucks and know what they need to do at the beginning of the run as far as anything that they've got to do differently at the end of the run. Outside the top 10, great recovery, great rebound for the 12 truck. Ryan Salvatore almost missed the start because of an internet issue. Was able to get it fired back up. He's currently in 12th in that number 12 truck. There's Dan Winter, Zane Farrell running 13th and 14th, and a little bit further on back. Got Keith Lord kind of sitting by himself there in the 17 truck, just kind of biding his time right now. A little bit behind the leader, running P15 currently.
Yeah, moving up from, I guess you could say moving up from 17th, because we had Zane Farrell in the 14 run 14th, Arsal in the 12 run 12th. So, no number order battles here, but Bollier has seemed to gather things up here after that contact with Ryan Libby, and he's been able to get by Mike Hopkins. Now he's looking for a way around Mario Ercolani. So it doesn't look like too much front-end damage to that 56 truck.
The 56 truck is quick. You can see there he's gained 11 spots, trying to gain 12 spots there. Handful of big movers. Ryan Messer, Ryan Salvatore, Adam Henry, all up 12 spots from the start of this one. Evan Bollier up 11. Colby Burkholder up 9. Keith Lord up 8. There you see Scott McDonald up 5 spots as well. So a handful of drivers really putting some laps down on the track here at Daytona.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Ercolani misses that corner, though, that corner exit, and he's going to give up 2 positions right there. So we talk about track position being at a premium, and it can all go away pretty quickly when something like that happens.
A couple guys who are looking for that caution to come up here. Jason Ricker's still running back 21st after that spin early, and Kyle Burkholder just ahead 22nd. Looks like he'll be looking to close in a little bit.
Yeah, there's Kyle Burkholder. I believe this is only his second NEP start. We've seen Colby Burkholder this last season and a half with the series.
Yeah, nice to see new faces with the series. Kyle's come in. He's got number 27, so we might have to find a new truck number for this old this old Ford here. But we'll see what's left on the roster.
Now he's the 027, I guess we can say. But right now, battling towards, I guess not towards the front. This is still for 13th. Dan Winter and Zane Farrell. They're catching the 12 of Ryan Salvatore. Home race for Arsal in the number 12.
Yeah, and Zane in the 14 camp, he's sponsoring tonight's race here this evening. Zane, he goes to Daytona. He's got 5 top 5s, 8 top 10s in the 11 career NEP road racing starts. He's got an average finish of 8.3 on road courses. Net bets over under finish for Zane tonight, 6.5 for the 14 crew. Has a little bit of work to do from P14 right now.
And Zane is a perennial road course sponsor too. He sponsored our action at Watkins Glen for years. I believe he sponsored Lime Rock, and real big road racing fan Zane is, and also a big Florida fan, it turns out.
And I saw I saw the logo, and I saw that he got a little dolled up for the Florida trip.
Big story here. We've got the caution that's going to be coming out the stage break at lap number 8. John Peters came down pit road and topped off on fuel. Looks like he might have gotten 4 tires as well in that 09 car. It drops him back to P12, but everybody else going to be coming down under this caution here on lap 8. That might have been a good move for the 09.
Yeah, John Peters has 7 career road course wins in the NEP series, by far the most of anyone. He also has 7 poles. Missed out on that tonight, but that's definitely one of those drivers that, man, sometimes he has that strategy down, and we'll see how that all works out when we continue on. But I mean, with being able to with it taking nearly 2 minutes to navigate a lap here, that might be the strategy, because he didn't. You're not going to lose a lap here unless you have a completely atrocious pit stop. So Stephen Daddio now up front.
There you see it.
And we have the yellow coming out.
So we'll gather the field back up. Steve Daddio going to cross the line in the lead. Kenny Kibbe in second. Dale Glessner third. Jeffrey Bradray, Corey Casagrande going to round out the top 5. Ryan Messer up to P6. Hopkins up to 7th. Super Mario Ercolani, P8. Zane Farrell, Dan Winter, currently the top 10. Salvatore Peters, Henry Dwyron, and McDonald, the top 15. Brent Roy, P16. Burkholder, Lord, the top 20.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here as the pace truck gathers the field. One guy that we got to give a shout out to, that he's running back in 16th, but Brent Roy back on the track, and now this is his 100th NEP race. We had, I think, our last points race, we had a group of drivers that completed their 100th start, but Brent Roy is 8th driver to reach that mark.
Yeah, Brent was actually going to be carrying the foot camera here for us this evening, but had some winter-related issues here at VidaneTV HQ, so didn't get a chance to get that all set up and get it ready for the live show here tonight. So we'll have that at the next road course. We might tinker with something next week, too. We'll see what all goes on. But under caution here, getting ready for some pit stops, and we made mention John Peters in the 09. He already came down. Brent Roy looks like he came down last lap. Evan Bollier in the 56. He came down as well. A couple other drivers, looks like Johnny Miller, Keith Lord, they all came down before that caution, before that stage break. So you got to bet those guys are going to probably stay out here. And Jeff, you know a little bit better than we do. You're behind the wheel here. You don't really want to mess too much with tire strategy here on a road course, do you?
I don't know. I mean, tire strategy. It all depends what you like. I mean, the biggest thing is time. The biggest thing is time, making your pit stops as efficient as you can. Now, by pitting before the caution break, those guys actually kind of spared themselves, because you don't want to. Ideally, on a road course, you kind of want to run a little backwards from your usual strategy. You don't want to pit when everybody else is pitting. You want to kind of pit under green, come out, make everybody else pit under yellow, come out behind you. That's how you steal track position. That's how you get. How you get an opportunity to gain some spots, maybe. And again, watch Kenny Kibbe. He's a big fan of the undercut. He likes to make that early pit stop and try to gain on new tires. That could play into his hand in the third stage, but I'm not quite sure where our fuel levels are going to match out. So we'll have to see how that works.
If I remember correctly, when we went to Lime Rock earlier in the year, it was that second green flag stint that we saw some early pit stops. So I could be remembering that incorrectly, but
the thing about a road course is that you kind of there is kind of a strategy of sort of sacrificing one of the stages. You kind of have we saw this happen actually in a couple short track races back up here in New England. You knew you were going to lose some time at some point. So when can you afford to lose that? When can you gamble? If you sacrifice the second stage to come up with solid track position in the third, then you're probably better off all around.
Now we see wholesale pit stops, as we were talking about, but there's a few that did stay out, as we mentioned. Kenny Kibbe, though, Steve Daddio coming into the pits, and it looks like it's always hard to tell if it's right side tires. It looks like it's going to be all four tires. Unlike, our ovals where you tend to wear out the right side tires, you're turning left and right here. So obviously we mentioned earlier, saving your rear tires is the key at a track like this, instead of the right sides like we normally see. So definitely some variance in pit stops going on, but John Peters will be the leader when we go back racing, with Brent Roy second, Evan Boyer third, Keith Lord fourth, and Johnny Miller running in fifth. And Paul, kind of looking ahead to upcoming weeks, next week, before we take a week off for Florida Speed Weeks, we're actually staying down here in the Sunshine State, going to New Smyrna. And can you believe we're inside with tonight? We're inside 5 races to go in the season.
Crazy to think. We've been watching these guys race each and every Thursday night, a couple of Wednesdays, a couple of Tuesdays even sprinkled in throughout the season, and another season getting ready to be in the books. And very cool to see, and it's been great to see this series grow by leaps and bounds over the past 4 or 5 years, with all the great partners that have kind of jumped on to help the financial burden, as far as getting everything up on the air and getting all the words out to all the fans and the folks that tune in each and every week. So We appreciate all that. We got 5 more bangers getting lined up to crown ourselves a champion. And man, oh man, the point standings are absolutely tight between the top 5. Heck, even the top 10 here in the NEP series. So getting ready to crown ourselves a champion here in the next handful of weeks' time as we get ready to kind of crank up the real racing schedule and make that jump from the cold months of the sim racing winters to the warm springtime and summertime at the real racetracks. I got to kind of sit down. I was working on the iRacing schedule a little bit, but I don't know what it was about January 29th. A lot of folks trying to work on the real racing schedules as well, so I got a lot of that hammered out for the 2026 calendar year. Pretty excited about it, and just excited to see this season come to a close and see where everybody's story takes them, because that's one of the things we pride ourselves here at VidaneTV. We bridge the gap between sim racing and real racing. And all these guys out on track right now on your screen, they've all got their own racing careers one way or another, whether they're a driver or a crew guy or a spotter, a track worker, whatever it may be, announcers. There's all sorts of different racing talents in this field. And to be able to get everybody kind of working together and racing against each other each and every Thursday night here on VidaneTV, been pretty special.
Yeah, we're all excited. We're all appreciative to be a part of this for sure, as we're going to double up for the restart that's going to be forthcoming. But I mean, we're cutting the season just a little bit earlier than normal, which is why we had a couple of those Wednesday and Tuesday shows. But it's just because this racing season, in the real life, just seems to start earlier and earlier. But we're going back to green here at the virtual Daytona road course, and John Peters is able to clear Brent Roy going into. I might have spoke too soon, but nope, he does keep the lead. But we're too wide behind them. Kenny Kibbe already trying to make up a couple spots. Is that Daddy-O around?
Daddy-O's around in the 9s. He is pointed in the wrong direction. We stay green. Didn't hit anything too bad, but he is going to lose a ton of track position all the way down in P21 right now for the 99.
His teammate, meanwhile, up in 5th. That's Kenny Kibbe. He's working over the back of John Miller, trying to break up that little party out front. You got 4 229 trucks running out front. You got Brent Roy, who started shotgun on the field, running second to Peters. You got Evan Bollier rebounding up in 3rd.
Yeah, those top 5 drivers, as expected, stayed out. Peters, Roy, Bollier, Miller, and Lord. Everybody else came down under that caution there. You can see Messer off track in the 1 truck sliding on back. He's going to lose a couple of spots. Nope, just kidding.
Yeah,
that was Keith Lord in the other 1 truck. Wait, no, maybe it was Messer. It was. It was. My goodness, lots of 1 trucks. I haven't done that all season.
Well, we noticed that Mr. Glester this year decided to run the number 1 despite being the number 11 on the scoreboard. So this is kind of like Kyle Edwards Super Modified is kind of that way. The 111E is actually the 1E for some reason in scoring, but there we go.
It's only live TV. It's fine. Got to give a call to that P3 driver. That may very well have been where you were heading there, Aaron. We got the note there with RSAL TV. Only driver in NEP to finish all the laps on all of the NEP road courses. On track to keep that little record going, as he's running P3 right now with 11 laps in.
Yeah, definitely Evan Boyer going in was one of them to watch, and once again he's showing it. And he's one of them that, I think he wants to show that he can be a championship contender, but he always runs into some kind of bad luck throughout the season, that not usually of his own doing. But yeah, further back, we were just looking at Stephen Daddy-O for a moment, and he's trying to make his way back up through the field. So I wonder if, as we go further into this green flag run, since he's lost all that track position, I wonder if he's going to capitalize and decide to pit under green. Right now, he's just picking up spots you see again by Scott McDonald, one of the Iron Men in this series. And so we'll see how this all turns out as we continue along during this green flag run.
Yeah, a little shout out to Scott McDonald. He went in last night as one of, I believe, 5 or 6 drivers who had the opportunity to complete every lap in the NEP All-Star races thus far. As of last night, Scott McDonald's the only one who did.
Oh no! He must have been watching the broadcast. Got a little bit sideways there, gathered it back up. He's Going to grab first gear and get rolling once again. Might lose a spot there, potentially another one, depending on how quickly Brian Ship in the 48 truck can get up there, but still holding on to it. Back up front, looks like Kibbe on a tear just a little bit. He's going to get around the third place driver of Bollier.
Yeah, a lot of maneuvering for positions. We've seen a lot more passing than I kind of expected because we saw qualifying was a bit spread out. But yeah, it's really been interesting here under these green flag conditions for sure. Seeing drivers coming and going and whatnot. Kenny Kibbe up to third right now as there you see the front runners a little further ahead. But yeah, there's a lot to still be figured out as we still have more than half of this race to go.
But keep in mind, we're only 4 laps to that halftime, four laps to that next stage break. So there's really not a lot of time on the table here to make some plays.
I think you were right the first time. It is technically halftime as well. And then we go that second half without really any kind of a break. So you're going all out once after this second yellow, if I'm not mistaken. But we see continued battles in the middle of the pack here. Once again, there's Zane Farrell, Mario Urcolani, Keith Lord in the 17. Here comes Dale Glessner. And he's mixing it up a little much there as Urcolani has to go off the course.
I don't know if Mario Urcolani in that 41 truck is having fun here at the Daytona Road Course. I can tell you it's been fun watching him get around this place. He's had, I'd be very curious to see what his incident count is at the end of this thing. And this isn't a knock on Mario. He's had a lot of off tracks that I've seen out of the corner of my eyes and on the sides of the screens, and he just kind of lets the back of that truck drift lazily through the corner, gathers it back up, does a little cars 2, cars 3, saves it, gets going again, and then he'll knock off a spot or two. So a lot of fun watching Mario Urcolani in that 41 truck tonight.
You know, road course racing's an acquired taste for sure. Some are naturals at it, some are not. A track like this is a real wild card late in the season.
A little bit of a slip up for the 78 of Hopkins. He's going to drop back to P14 as Salvatore in the 12 truck gets on by. Up front, still Peters by about a half second over Brent Roy in the 26. Those guys on the same pit strategy. And just looking at lap times, there's about 2 laps in between those guys and the guys that stopped under that caution. They're about the same. They're between a tenth or 2 off as back between the second half of the top 10. It's getting a little bit squirrely. Bradway off track in the 13 truck. He's going to lose a couple of spots, and things are getting squirrely as we get closer and closer to the second stage break.
Bradway's been able to recover a couple times at least. Man, he was up in the top 5 at the beginning of this one, though, and he slipped back to about 11th spot now. So he's got some work to do as we continue on there. See Hopkins and Arcel battling side by side, and here's Daddio making his way through. He passed Adam Henry just recently. Now he's going to look to get to the inside of Dan Winter.
81 truck holding on to P15 for the time being. You can see from about 8th all the way back through to about 14th. 15th, 16th, handful of drivers up in here just outside the top 10 as we kind of bounce around throughout the field. There you can see from 6th on back to about 7th. Zane Farrell in the 14 truck kind of out by himself. He's P8, 7 CT of Corey Casagrande. He's in 7th. The 6th of Johnny Miller. He's in P6.
Got a lot of continued jockeying for position going on here. And we're just a few laps away from the next scheduled yellow. Here we see Stephen Daddio continuing. There's not a ton of passing opportunities on this track, despite how vast the course is. There's definitely some good spots, especially if you got to run here up on the banking and whatnot. But yeah, when you're working things like the bus stop and that first corner and things like that, it's probably not the best. There's certain spots that probably aren't the best to make a bid for a position.
Ooh, the 17 truck hard into the wall. Keith Lord, that was huge. We'll see if we can take a quick peek at that on the replay, as you were saying, Jeff.
Yeah, I was starting to say something but Keith Lord, that's really too bad to hear. He, as we were talking about last night, he actually was just spotting at the Rolex 24, and I believe for one of the BMW factory teams. So pity to see him go out on a track where he spent a lot of time on one of the other sides of the coin here.
Yeah, saw a quick glance at the replay. Those rear wheels didn't even stop turning. He was able to grab first gear and get rolling once again. Lost a couple of spots. Might lose another couple of spots right now in front of the 78 of Hopkins, who slides up just a little bit. Didn't hit anything in that 17 truck, but gonna at a racetrack where we're keeping an eye on the rear tires and spinning them like that, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But we are also 2 to 3 laps away from that next stage break. So that may be exactly what the doctor ordered there for the 17 truck.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that was tough to see because I guess you could kind of say, yeah, like you were talking about, Keith Lord definitely knows the ins and outs of this track. That's for sure. And it's good to see him here because I know he doesn't get to make too many of the NEP races on the schedule throughout the year nowadays because of his travel schedule. So, which I'm sure is getting into gear here in another week or two once again. With New Smyrna Speed Weeks actually starting. Oh,
Messer off track again. Same spot, matter of fact, for that one truck. The last time we saw Messer slide up just a little bit. We don't usually see too many mistakes out of the Ironman Ryan Messer, but he's going to drop back 2 spots. Miller in the 6 gets by. Bowler in the 56 gets by that one truck. P6 right now as they run. They should be coming to the caution at this time by. We take a look back at the leader, the 09 truck, holding on to it. He's about 0.8 of a second in front of the 26 of Roy.
Yeah, good run for Brent tonight. He definitely played a strategy right, getting back up into the running there. He said earlier he's kind of driving angry. He knows he had to sit out a race, had to start dead last. He's a very good road racer. Trying to make the best of a season that's been very frustrating for him thus far. He's definitely trying to do what he can. And it looks like we've already got some cars taking that pit stop before the break, so we'll have to see how that plays out.
That's a couple of drivers looking for looking backwards at the previous strategy under that last deal here. As the caution comes out, going to end up being 15 to 16 laps to go after they come down and top off. It's 8 laps, 15, or 16 laps, depending on how you want to look at it. When you look at the max fuel run, 15 to 16 laps. If these guys don't get a caution in this final stage, it might be something to keep an eye on. You want to make sure you get this virtual fuel tank absolutely jam-packed with fuel as we come to that yellow flag.
The one nice thing, it's going to take a hell of a crash to create an actual natural yellow on a track like this. Typically, drivers are going to be able to get back around, so at least you don't have to count on an overtime scenario.
That's definitely true. That's a good point. I lost my train of thought.
Choo-choo!
Yeah.
As the pace truck gathers the field up there's Jeff mowing the grass in front of the cameras for us, just giving us a little wave. Good looking paint scheme this year, Jeff. Gonna cut up in front of Peters there, and
sorry about that. He's the wrong mic, but trying to get up to speed here to let these guys go. We're trying to. Oh no, I guess we're not going to.
You're gonna sprint car it through that corner, I see. But
it's very easy to get out of shape off that corner.
It's all the sailboat fuel.
Leaders to catch up anyway.
But yeah, we're going to see everyone bunch up and then see who decides to come down pit road. Like we said, we saw some decide to pit early, some decide to do that in the first stint. There's your weather conditions. I wish the weather was like that right about now. It's not even going to be like that in Daytona this weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't like that back in December for Kart Week either. It was very foggy, very cold, and well, it's about as breezy as that is. There, 16 miles an hour. You figure we're playing a video game. What's the wind got to do with it? Everything. You can definitely feel that 16 mile an hour breeze here at Daytona, and you can feel the temperatures as well. The temperature in the air, the surface temperature, as well as the tires and everything else. It's all dynamic, and it all kind of works together here as we finally catch up with the pace truck. One of the things that these kind of gathering the field up here, it shows just how spread out the field was. B, it gives these guys another opportunity to just get another couple of laps closer to the checkered flag, so they don't have to worry about that fuel too much. You still have to make sure there's no errors on pit road, and you have to make sure that gas tank gets absolutely jam-packed so you can make it to that checkered flag. But with this extra lap or two of caution that we're getting to get the pace truck to gather the field back up, it's going to play into everybody's favor.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, getting off a pit road here, if you're choosing the pit, is going to be pretty important here, as we talked about track position. One thing we don't have to worry about that they did the past weekend at the 24 hours, we don't have to have a long caution for fog. So that's at least we don't have, that's one weather condition we don't have to worry about today is fog. So at least there's that. But we're going to see in a minute what John Peters, Brent Roy, Kenny Kibbe, the Evan Boyer, Johnny Miller all decide to do here as we're getting close to getting to the pit entrance. So what do you think we're going to see here?
Honestly, I think we're going to see everybody. I think everybody's going to come down, probably grab 4 tires all the way around here as well. And it's funny you mentioned the fog. We don't have to mess with it with iRacing yet. I got a feeling that could be something. We've got rain, we've got wind, we've got all their stuff. We don't have to deal with snow, don't have to deal with fog. But at Daytona International Speedway, the fog rolls in like nobody's business. I got to witness that firsthand recording or filming, rather, the Daytona Kart Week down there on the flat track outside of turn number 2. And about 5, 6 o'clock, the fog started to roll in, and I said, "Hey guys, we're going to be dealing with some fog conditions here very, very shortly." And everybody kept saying, "No, that's smoke from a fire down the road, or that's grandma burning her asparagus." And sure as shooting, we got to about 7:30, and we had to shut everything down because the fog was just too thick. So it's something to maybe keep in mind for the future here in the iRacing world, but thankful we don't have to deal with that.
That's pretty early to have some fog going on. But of course, I've been to Pocono Raceway a few times where the fog doesn't even lift all day. So, and then that's in the middle of summer. So sometimes you'll have days like those. Now we're working these corners here, and now we're going to see what these guys decide to do. Peters looks like he's already making his, well, he was. Maybe a little too early making that decision. You don't want to get all the way down there on the apron, as we see one driver going to get their lap back.
Yeah,
that's
McDonald,
a lot
44.
track position.
That's like
Yeah, we
winning
had
the lottery.
three drivers were coming in. We had 3 drivers who were lapped down coming into this caution. We had Scott McDonald, who had a little internet connection disconnection issue. Colby Burkholder and Jason Ricker, who made a pit stop before the yellow. So those 3, looks like Pooter will get back on the lead lap, but Burkholder and Ricker still have a long fight ahead of them.
Well, I'm a little on the confused side, because as we take a look at the pit road entrance camera, the lights on the left-hand side of pit road are flashing red. Did the entire field just get black flagged?
You know, I had that similar problem under green where I had to wait. I actually had to wait an extra lap because for some reason I wasn't able to come in as I expected. So I'm not really sure how to answer that. I thought the pace car kind of let's turn our attention rather to the battle off of pit road. We look Brent Roy beating John Peters by a whisker, and we've got Kenny Kibbe rolling out 3rd, Evan Boyer 4th.
Yeah, Brent Roy getting the top spot, I believe. We have to see if anyone stayed out. I think Keith Lord might have stayed out, so that's interesting.
45 seconds plus on the pit stop for the 99, the 81 at a long stop there as well.
Yeah. Well, Daddio did have some damage to potentially fix there, so if you're coming in, might as well do that and try to get yourself through the field once again, see what you can make up. Or I don't know if at this point it might be a throwaway for Daddio. I know we still have, technically you can still use, this still counts towards your drops if you can use them still. I think it's just the last race at Dover that you can't drop your worst if you have a bad finish there. So Brent Roy definitely going to capitalize if he can stay out front for a much needed top run here. But he's going to have to keep a couple of hungry drivers right behind him. And it does look like Keith Lord did come in at this point.
Yeah, timing and scoring still has him 18th on the board, but he is running between those 2 front runners there. Look, keep in mind the 229 guys all ran as a team with Jason Ricker as team engineer. They all ran the Rolex 24 for iRacing a couple of weeks ago, so not surprising to see them all together here. But we'll have to see. I know Kenny Kibbe ran it also with a different set of teammates, so we'll have to see. Obviously, he's got the proficiency here to make it a good run.
I don't know if it's where they blended, like if Keith Lord was still coming around when Brent Roy got off of pit road. But that kind of surprises me considering Brent Roy and John Peters, it was like you said, Paul, it was kind of a whisker was the advantage off of pit road. So it would kind of surprise me that Brent would have beat Keith Lord off pit road, but Lord beat Peters off pit or not off pit road, but on the track position. So definitely going to set up an interesting restart here. We've had a couple minor calamities on the initial start and also the previous restart. So we'll see what happens here going into turn one. Of course, we got a little bit of time still. We got about a lap and a half before they actually go green because they haven't even doubled up yet. But, I mean, that's enough time, Paul, to go get yourself some DoorDash, isn't it?
Indeed, it is. You can actually shoot on over to Vidane.tv/DoorDash or hit that QR code on the bottom right of your screen. 14, 15 laps to go. Couple caution laps, about 2 minutes or so a lap. You may very well be eating some hot DoorDash while we're going down to DoorDash Victory Lane here at Daytona Road Course. So be sure to shoot on over. We'll save you $8 off the first 4 orders. That's $32 total, courtesy of VidaneTV, Vidane.tv/DoorDash. Once again, get you some hot yum-yums delivered to your door or wherever you tell them to deliver it to. I usually tell them to leave it on the hood of my pickup truck.
I'll tell you, Gabe Brown could have used DoorDash that night at Oxford when the lights went out.
It's always fun when you DoorDash at the racetrack because you usually, myself personally, big gray trailer, fat guy, red beard, red ball cap, black shorts, and usually 9 times out of 10, the DoorDash driver is able to find me.
And Gabe Brown might have been getting some DoorDash orders when I was out in Tucson the other week too, because I know he had a tough, or actually a pretty quick weekend when it came to that. They had like a motor issue, I think, on the opening day, I don't think I even got to talk to Gabe. I think he was still there the whole weekend, but unfortunately wasn't really doing much of racing coming there from New Hampshire with that whole P1 group. But I'm sure we'll see him on the track too. A friend of many, I think we said it before, a friend and a foe of many in the NEP League.
Indeed. He's got a busy year ahead in addition to everything he's doing with the P1 deal. He's got his full-time pass schedule with Bobby Weber Racing this year. He's back in his own act car for the full season. So Gabe is going to be keeping busy, but Jimmy Renfrew, his basically brother-in-law, if you want to call him that. They're not there yet, but someday maybe. Not rushing you guys along by any stretch, kids, but it's nice to see guys like that representing the latest wave of racers representing our region on the big stage, and that's it's nice to see that.
Yeah, racing community and sim racing community, one of the tightest groups you're ever going to find, especially the guys that kind of work production as well. Got to give a shout out to the AV guys, the A-Hole Visual Club, we call ourselves. Sometimes we don't actually call ourselves that, but I know you guys are watching. Speaking of DoorDash, it's always one of my most favorite things too. You wrap up with a show or a gig, and you go to dinner, you have a couple drinks, and everything's all good. But then you get to the hotel lobby, you start shooting a little pool and playing a little ping pong, and you get into the adult beverages, and you realize, well, hey, it's 2 a.m. and we're hungry, and that's when you can DoorDash you $200 worth of Taco Bell and extra beer directly to hotels. I didn't know you could do that with DoorDash until I started working in the TV industry.
Well, they'd send you to some pretty nice hotels if you're playing ping pong and pool and whatnot. So that's I'm kind of jealous, actually.
Yeah, what could I say? The Penguin in Chief, he knows how to book them.
That's for sure. But, they're getting a little close there on that front row. We'll reset the order here as we're going to go green here shortly once again, and we'll go green the rest of the way for a 12-lap dash to the finish. Brent Roy leading the way, Keith Lord second, John Peters third, Kenny Kibbe fourth, Evan Boyer fifth, Johnny Miller sixth, Ryan Messer seventh, Corey Casagrande. We haven't talked about him very much today, but he's running right up there in eighth, and then rounding out the top 10, Zane Farrell and Dan Winter. Or is it Dale Glessner? It kept switching.
They're both pretty close.
No, Dale's a little further up.
In any sense, that pace truck driver, he's going down to order his DoorDash. He's going to the safety of pit road. Brent Roy down on the bottom side. Keith Lord up top, 2x2 all the way through. Barney in the flag stand, letting them know it's time to go. Green flag flies. Look at that 4 truck.
Look at the 26 truck getting off to a great restart. Brent Roy able to accelerate ahead. Keith Lord spin those tires just a little bit, perhaps, and on the older rubber right there in the 17. But right now, John Peters and Kenny Kibbe able to clear Keith Lord, and we're getting a little messy here in that in a pretty treacherous area. That's one of my favorite spots to watch races on the Daytona road course, by the way, is this whole area. It's a pretty good time after they go through this area and then come back onto the banking.
Just looking
like a slide for life.
Oh,
for
Johnny Miller!
He usually doesn't make those mistakes.
Whew. We got a lot of evasive action taken on.
The wings have been clipped on the Screaming Eagle. Just stuck. That is a gut-wrenching feeling. Going to cut the course there. Probably going to get a penalty as well for the 6 truck. No damage, but man, oh man, when you're in through those tight turns in there, you get turned up and crossed up. It's really hard to kind of gather it back up. And you said it, Aaron. That was some great heads-up driving. A lot of threading the needle there between a lot of the drivers throughout the field.
Yeah, definitely. It does spread things out just a little bit now, as some of those leaders able to get further ahead. But here we see a good battle. Once again, Keith Lord continuing to fall back. Look at Steven Daddio already into the top 10 after that long pit stop.
Yeah, 57 seconds in the box under that last pit stop. Got that thing fixed, got some tires on it, and they must be staggered up and match special because the pair of 9's running in 9th right now, and he is closing in on the tailgate of the 14 of the Tonka truck at 14.
Yeah, most certainly we'll see if he can pick up a few more and put them down. But right now, Zane Farrell trying to get to the outside of Corey Casagrande. That's not going to be the preferred position going into turn 1 here, but he's got the momentum on his side and is able to clear the 7 CT for that spot inside the top 10.
Something to watch on the 7 is that he does have some he did have front end damage coming into the green flag there, but he got in the back of Johnny Miller, and there was some pretty hot tensions on the radio after that incident. But that could be that damage. You know, most times on a road course that probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Certainly not in Lime Rock, but here that'll kill you on the speedway on the speedway corners.
Taking a look just outside the top 10 right now. There's Hopkins in the 78 taking a peek underneath. They're inside next to the 41 of Ercolani, going to potentially complete the pass. Where is he? Going to come down to the left-hander in. There you see the 41 going to slide on back in the behind the 78. Easy enough for me to say. There you see Joey Dwyron getting on by as well. They're side by side and sliding up in front of them there for position as well.
Yeah, Joey Dwyron doing okay in the 73D. He's usually not considered, not usually a big track expert in the real racing world, but certainly holding his own tonight, doing quite okay on the race on our little roval here.
He's been relatively quiet, but having a solid run. He's been relatively quiet much of the season as well, after winning a couple times last year. There
he bonsai that corner there for a minute. He kind of missed the exit of the bus stop there.
He must have heard us talking about him. He was probably saying, "Oh, biscuits," going into that too.
I was just gonna say he probably dropped a biscuit over there in the infield or something. That's going to lose a lot of track position. You can see the Keith Lord and Mike Hopkins machines kind of driving off into the sunset. That's for the 11th and 12th position. Everybody's still chasing down. Peters off the pace. Big time slide there for Brent Roy as well. Kenny Kibbe in the 4 truck almost slams Finn in the back. Is there oil on the racetrack? Messer off the track as well. Bollier pointed in the wrong direction. The entire top 5 in 5 separate incidents is just wrecked.
They're still all skating around, as you can see. And I thought we only put sailboat fuel on when we wanted to throw the yellow flag.
I was kidding about that.
Well, they watched that Watkins Glen race from a few years ago and decided oiling down the track would be the better idea for entertainment dollars here.
But meanwhile, Brent Roy continuing out front. John Peters was able to pretty much gather it up somehow and is still running in second. Kenny Kibbe third, and now Ryan Messer up into 4th spot.
Look at the 14 of Farrell. Zane coming in is, oh, there he goes. Never mind, just kidding.
We got to stop talking about everyone.
Yeah, we're just
stay silent. No one will make any mistakes.
Yeah, sterile comms for the next 10 laps here.
The curse of the sports announcer, I guess you could say. Zane's gathered it back up, but Brad was able to get past him on the corner there.
And that's one of those things. I've been there. You see there's an incident in front of you where you could potentially gain 4 or 5 spots in a matter of just a couple of turns here on a road course. You get excited. It gets into the back of your head, and it starts to jumble you up, and you lose your focus. And that might have been exactly what happened there with Zane, because we've seen a lot of drivers kind of lose the back end of the truck by themselves in that same corner. So just got to get refocused here at this point. Solid top 10 effort so far for that number 14 truck. He's in the top 10 and top 5 rather in points. So just trying to quote unquote survive the day, as it were, and maybe regather himself and maybe try and hope for a caution, maybe try and get a little top 5 action. But right now it is looking pretty spread out, even after that odd incident here.
Yeah, it looks like Brent's got a pretty good advantage over John Peters right now, and you've got Kibbe working the back of the 09 truck trying to find a lane past. But Kibbe wants a taste. He's got a taste of it. He wants to get back in the winner's circle.
Yeah, Brent Roy is actually a past road course winner in the series, has 1 previous win. So each of the top 3 formerly have won on these road courses. So that's definitely going to be something to watch. Actually, it might be top 4. Is Evan Boyer running in? Where's Evan Boyer running? Is he in the top 5? Actually, no, Evan Boyer's fallen back a little bit.
He's all the way back at 18.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there exactly to the 56. But yeah, these front 3, Kenny Kibbe is probably trying all that he can to get past John Peters. We can see, like, in certain parts of the track, it seems like he's a little bit faster, but not too many passing opportunities, especially against a guy like John Peters, who's, of course, going to be a little bit protective, as they are reeling in on Brent Roy, though, so this could make for some interesting entertainment here as we're under 10 laps to go.
It all depends. Yeah, like you said it right there. Some drivers just have a better knack for the technical portions of the course. There was an interesting interview a couple of years ago with Dale Quarterly. He explained the same thing, where in motorcycle racing he was a little bit big for a bike, but he was he couldn't get the speed on the straightaways. But once he got to the technical portion of the course, he could usually outrace his competition.
Yes, praise Dale Quarterly. I'd love to see him make an NEP appearance randomly. I don't know if he does any kind of iRacing. I know his son races now, so maybe they do have a rig or something like that. But yeah, a lot of excitement coming on here in the middle of not in the middle of the pack, but actually towards the front of the pack. Steven Daddio has been able to pick up a few more positions. He has entered the top 5. So all of our point leaders and Brent Roy are now up towards the front of this field.
And we got some contact deep in the pack with we got Keith Lord holding off Mike Hopkins, and Hopkins is working him over.
Yeah, Keith Lord with that, I guess you could say, older rubber, since he did not come into the pits during that last yellow, trying to salvage something here in that 17 truck, but it's not really working out too well. And there you see.
And he's off course.
Yeah.
That's another one of those spots all night long. We've seen, that's a cool shot. The rest of the field going on the big NASCAR track in the background. First time we've seen that all evening long. And this is another one of those spots where we've seen a couple of drivers kind of get off course. Just getting back onto that throttle, you almost have to make sure that thing, that you've got an eggshell underneath it as you're coming off of these corners, especially with that banking transition. I imagine that's got to really upset the back of these trucks.
And that camera angle you were talking about, ooh, getting a little air there for Jeff Bradway. But that camera angle you were talking about, that's probably my favorite spot to sit. There's usually a set of stands over there when you're watching some racing on the road course. I've been fortunate enough to be there for the 24 hours, and I also was there once for the NASA championships before. And yeah, like in that area, it's so cool because you're looking at everyone kind of battling in that inner area that we'll get into here momentarily. I know it has an official name, but I'm forgetting it. But yeah, this area, when you're coming through this area, there's a set of stands that you can see them kind of enter the picture like right over here, and then come right around behind you. And then if you turn around while you're standing in those stands, you can see them going on to the turn one bank, the NASCAR turn one banking.
Which, when you think of it, is astonishing. This place is absolutely massive. The first time I was here was a couple of years ago, and I got off the airplane. There's an airport right there on the back straightaway, and it was Christmas Day, so I had told boss man, hey, I'm not going to Uber. It's only 2 blocks away. I'll hoof it to the hotel room right there on Richard Petty Boulevard, which was kind of neat. So there I am. It's nighttime, Christmas night. It's dark out, and I'm looking at Google Maps, and I'm just thinking, hey, you know, this says the racetrack should be right there. And I just look over to my left across the street, and then I look up, and it's like, oh, that's the banking. That's the backside of the racetrack. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's definitely a neat layout for sure, and you can see
Matter of fact, that's the hotel I stayed at.
The latter part of the 24 hours, you know, there's some people that kind of, I don't know why you would, but I guess some people got to get home, and some people check out and they head over to the airport. You can see the planes taking off, and there's probably some people that you just saw at the racetrack in that plane that's kind of going into the air. As I caught the tail end of the 24 hours, and which I had the opportunity to do from the Rolex Club, I guess is what you call it. I ended up with a free pass up there where they had some nice buffet of food going on and whatnot. And I know the pizza in the infield is pretty good too. But you know, when you're on a travel budget, sometimes you gotta take advantage of some of those free food opportunities too.
Oh, 100%. I'll take a trash bag of cold McDonald's any day.
Oh, it was a little bit better than that, but that's for sure. But here we see continuing John Peters and Kenny Kibbe. Look at Kenny Kibbe work that wheel in the number 4. They continue to keep Brent Roy honest, I guess you could say, as next time by we'll have 5 laps to go.
Yeah, they've been hanging about a second back of John. John's been hanging about a second back of Brent. You know, give or take. He's just carved that just under a second now, but we'll see. We'll see what Brent can do. I'm sure, obviously, teammates are going to work together a little bit differently, but with Kibbe having slipped back, they might not keep the pressure on so strong.
I was going to mention just a few corners ago, we saw the leader Brent Roy slip up just a little bit, and then you saw Kenny Kibbe make the exact same mistake as. You can see Peters starting to close up. We'll switch cameras. Now we're on board with the 09 truck, and you can see the left side of that graphic. It shows what gear they're in, how fast they're going here as they're on the NASCAR front straightaway. Going to get into 4th gear and all the way up to about 175, 180 miles an hour as they go into turn 1. And they're going to be going quicker than that. You got a little bit of the draft there, and you can see the 09's just doing everything he can to try and close up to the back bumper of his teammate as we get the high five from Barney and the flag stand. That time by 5 laps to go here at the road course in Daytona.
And I will add that it was pretty cool watching Kenny Kibbe. We might see Peters do the same thing here. Kibbe just perfectly seemed to navigate like how to hit those rumble strips and whatnot. And that's definitely one of those kinds of things where it's such a fine line, because if you hit them in a particularly interesting way, and any road course, it can very well upset the truck. So that's one thing that some drivers, you see Ryan Messer kind of sliding it through the corner. He continues to ride 4th, and Steve Daddio, he's been able to move up to 5th, but he's got some work to do to catch the rest of. Actually, no, he's up. Yeah, he's in 5th. But he might have plateaued right there, running in 5th as we continue through the field. Corey Casagrande still doing a good job in 6th. Jeffrey Bradway's been able to recover, running in that 7th spot in the number 13, and side by side for 8th.
Yeah, we have a solid battle shaping up for the lead out front too. We've got John Peters has run down Brent Roy. He's been stalking him through the corners. He was stalking him through the horseshoe, trying to get by. He's coming down the backstretch, kind of taking that wide approach to the bus stop. But oh boy! And Peters slips back a little bit. He's going to slip back into the clutches of Kenny Kibbe as Kenny Kibbe nails the bus stop there.
It's definitely an interesting moment there that we got back to, and Peters is going to have to gather it back up again, as now we see, look at all that ground that he's lost to the 26 of Brent Roy, and now he's going to have pretty much only now 4 more go-rounds to get it done. And now he's also going to have to, like we said, falling in the clutches of Kenny Kibbe. He's going to have to put up with him as well. So spread out a little bit
he
more.
went from the quarter panel of the 26 to about a tenth behind, but he's already started to gain a little bit on that through that first turn.
Yeah, slow and steady wins the race, I guess you could say. But got a little anxious there in that bus stop for sure. But yeah, we're going to see how this all turns out as we continue to wind down the laps and the moments and the opportunities.
And you can see these top three have broken away by a lot. Fourth place, Ryan Messer, 10 seconds behind third place. They are just clicking off laps like it's nobody's business, and they're about a second quicker than the field. Last time by for Brent Roy was a 149.5. Ryan Messer ran a 150.2, so it's almost a full second quicker than Ryan Messer here on a road course. Is almost unheard of here in NEP and VidaneTV. But Brent Roy, John Peters, Kenny Kibbe, they're really putting on a clinic here with the road course racing here. And I believe all three of these guys did run the 24-hour here at Daytona just a few weeks ago.
It sounds like Keith Lord's on a fuel-saving strategy, so he's trapped back in 15th, but falling through the field. He's got Dan Winter and Evan Bollier on his tail.
Peters closing back up as we get a little bit closer to that checker. There you can see it's 0.3 of a second and closing. Peters might be onto something in that 09 truck, Aaron.
Yeah, he's using that draft right now. As you see, he's getting right back, sucking back right up to that number 26.
Ooh, Brent in the wall.
And Roy, he tagged the safer barrier there.
Ooh, just enough momentum scraped off. Another little bit of a slide there for the 26. That's going to open the door for Kibbe when he gets slammed. Oh, man. Peters to the lead. Brent Roy to second. Kenny Kibbe is there, though.
Yeah, it might be a matter of time, and Kibbe almost got into the back of him there. It had to... Oh, there... Man.
Yeah, they're all dancing around out there.
Yeah, so I don't know. Brent Roy sliding all over the place now after having doing a masterful job there for several laps. Now he's going to fall to third potentially. He's trying to get second back or can keep second here. Meanwhile, John Peters pulling away a little bit.
I can tell you exactly what I'm doing as soon as we get off the air here. So I'm going to go over to Twitch and I'm going to punch in NSR_Kibbs there. You can see on the tailgate of the Ford truck. That's Kenny Kibbe's Twitch, and he's streaming right now. He's got his onboard camera. He's got his windshield up on the screen, and you can see exactly how he got around that 26 truck right there. Kenny Kibbe to P2. Does he have enough time to try and chase down Peters? 2 laps to go. And it's about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds. Check that, 3 laps to go. And it's about a second and a half up to Peters in the lead.
It's going to take quite the mistake for Peters to lose this victory. But at the same time, you know, as we've talked earlier, the minute you say that, something usually happens.
But Kibbe picking up second spot here is big when it comes to the points. We saw last time out. He got the win, actually, if I remember correctly, and he now leads the points by just a hair over Ryan Messer. They've been kind of flip-flopping one week after another, but that as long as he stays ahead of Brent Roy here, that puts one truck cushion between him and Messer. Messer has not led any laps tonight either. Kibbe won the pole. He led some laps, so there's some bonus points, too, in Kibbe's favor.
But what's not in his favor is with 2 laps to go, he's still about 1.6 seconds back of the leader. And Brent Roy's kind of fallen back a little bit in third, but Kenny's going to need quite the slip or quite the lucky break to be able to close that much ground on John Peters that fast. And it looks like with what's the lap traffic situation for Johnny right now?
I don't know, do we have any? Oh,
looks relatively open as we take a good shot at the wide angle there. There you can see Hopkins side by side with another yellow truck off in the distance there. Hopkins going to lose that spot as he gathers it back up. We took a quick shot there. That was Adam Henry, the other yellow truck. Just going to make mention, he's been the biggest mover so far. He's up 13 spots running P12 right now in that 62. Had to give a shout out to Adam Henry. He's back there racing. We'll take a quick peek at it. They were 3 wide there for a second, but we're going to get the white flag up front for that 09 truck. Final lap for John Peters. It's about a second back to Kibbe. Does he have enough time to get there?
Not just yet. We're in the bus stop coming off the backstretch, so a little bit further until he takes the white flag here. He's got to get onto the banking, but Kibbe has seemed to trim that lead margin just a little bit. He has pulled away from Brent Roy. Still a bit of a gap. It might take a mistake for Peters, but we got one lap remaining just about now. There's Barney in the flag stand.
But the sun was in my eyes. Yeah, that was my fault.
That's all good. I sometimes confuse the back stretch with the front stretch, too, at many of these tracks.
I'm at the wrong track. John Peters still a second out front of the Ford truck. Right now, Kenny Kibbe, he's been able to drive away from Brent Roy in the 26 as well. But look, they all accordion back up there in that set of turns. Anything could happen. You really just need to be able to hit your marks at this point.
Yeah, it looks like John's got clear track in front of him. He shouldn't have any trouble. The only truck that might be the number 9 of Jason Ricker that's coming up. Can't be sure, can't be 100% certain, but that's probably the only truck he has to worry about right now. And Jason's friendly fire. He should nope that is not. Yeah, it might be Jason that he was dealing with. So we'll see if that. No, definitely not. My apologies there. But there is one truck coming up on track, but I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for John.
Back in the NASCAR 4 for the final time, 3 and 4, and he can see he has got himself 0.6 of a second. That is enough for Kenny Kibbe to pick up a bit of a draft. Kenny's going to be going a bit quicker, but I don't think he's got enough time coming. Well, just kidding. That's a start. That's the backstretch. I can't believe I did that. Aaron, take us home, quick.
No, we're going through the bus stop first, and there's Peters. Kibbe went all out through there, and he actually picked up some time. He might reel in on.
He might be able to do something on the banking here if he can get a tow there. Colby Burkholder's that lap truck, and it looks like he's just far enough. He shouldn't factor into the finish, but Kenny's going to try to make a play for it on his own.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a little bit too much, though, as Peters is going to cruise here into the tri-oval, and John Peters going to win here at the Daytona Road Course. Kenny Kibbe finishing second, and Brent Roy in third.
That's a .410 second margin of victory. Kenny shaved it down to just under half a second in that last lap, but Brent Roy fell back to about 2.3 seconds back. But then from there, it's Ryan Messer running about 13 seconds back. He's going to cross the line in fourth, and Steve Daddio, after that miscue bit early in the race, rebounded for a fifth.
Yeah, just looking at the lap times, a 1:49.677 for John Peters versus a 2:20 for Kenny Kibbe. It might have just been a matter of time and a matter of a couple of extra laps there to see if that Ford truck might have gotten around. But in a sense, the 09 truck coming home with a victory here, and we're going to see if we can talk to these top 3 drivers. And Jeff, I think you're down there in victory lane with our winner, I believe.
Yes, John, it's been a tough season in many ways. We've talked about this a couple weeks back at Bristol, and I believe, was it Bristol? It just all of a sudden it went from not seeing the 09 in victory lane to seeing wins in the last couple races. How's it feel to seem like you're turning your season around at the right moment?
It feels great. I think you just got to keep coming back and trying to put yourself in position each week, and sometimes things will fall the way you want, sometimes they won't. So it's like, put yourself in the right spot and hopefully good things will happen. And I think that's just kind of happened out the last couple of weeks. And I love road course racing, so I figured this would be fun. We had an awesome race up front. I hope it was entertaining to watch. I feel like it was one of our better road races. So just, really excited for it, and we'll take it.
Now, naturally, you guys ran the 24 Hours Le Mans a couple of weeks ago. Very different setup with a prototype sports car that actually stops in the corners and handles the corners and turns. How is it to jump into a truck where we really haven't done stock cars at a road course oval configuration like this before? What's the discipline like trying to get yourself back into that mind frame?
The laps do help. I mean, really, because there's so much familiarity with the track and where the different nuances are with the curbs and the lanes that you want to stay away from versus hit. So all that kind of transfers over, and that's usually the baseline. I kind of took the prototype approach with the braking points and throttle, and then just backed that up about 200 feet. And that's kind of what you have to do to make the trucks work. There's so much more heavy and rigid, and they just kind of float all over the racetrack. They don't really have much grip, and the brakes don't work nearly as well. So you're just going a little bit slower, but same principles kind of apply. So I definitely do feel like that helped.
It seemed like all three of you were trying to throw it away in the end. Was it a slick track, just the setup not quite right, or just those little miscues of trying to misjudge one way or the other.
It's just all of us, I think, being on the edge of out of control, while also being mindful that this was going to be the longest run of the race to the checkered there. So you did have to try to hold a little bit back, but when you would get the draft on guys down the long straightaways, you'd enter the next corner with more entry speed than you're used to, and that can get real treacherous because it is quite slick out there. So turn one's the hot spot for that. You saw Brent, Kibby, and I all go long there at least once. So it's just more a product of that and awesome racing. I mean, I think we all were holding our breath for the last 5 laps. It just kind of required that. This combination was a good one.
You talk about it being slick, but you guys are staring down the barrel, a native Mainer yourself, but you're staring down the barrel of some nasty weather coming in this weekend. What do you think about that for this week?
Well, yeah, we haven't had snow in 3 years, and now we're going to have it in back-to-back weekends. So that makes no sense, but that's too bad because we were going to go to the Clash on Saturday and Sunday, and that looks like that may not happen. So a little odd. If we get 1 inch of snow down here, we might as well get 10. It's about the same treatment either way. So we'll see what happens.
You got a long drive to some of these races from North Carolina. How who gets you to the track? Who makes it all possible for you?
Well, it's really just me and my wife and my dogs and my mom who watches every week. She's down in the living room today, so she's got a front row seat. That's really who gets us to the racetrack. I think my teammates at 229 Autosport, Brent and I had so much fun this week running these trucks, practicing racing. I figured it would be a fun one with us tonight. And the rest of the team did great. Had a great race up front with Kenny and everyone else. And I appreciate Zane, I think, sponsored tonight, and NEP and Vidane for putting it all on.
Great win, John. Thank you. And who's tracked down Kenny Kibby down in the infield there?
Caught right up with him and had to talk about the tailgate of that number 4 truck, the address to the Twitch stream, because I could tell you, and I told everybody listening and watching at home, as soon as we're off the air, I'm going to go back and try and catch that video on demand to try and watch those final 5 laps. What else did you need in that 4 truck to get up to get the victory here tonight, Kenny?
Yeah, I think I made a few too many mistakes in this one to really, I wouldn't say throw it away, but I just put myself in a tougher spot by making a couple mistakes. But like nobody was perfect today at all. Yeah, at the end there, I really didn't think I had the pace of the 26 and the 09, but I just was focusing on keeping in their draft. And so that last run there, I was kind of just trying to push John up to Brent so that they would try to fight each other a bit, and it kind of worked, but then I kind of lost the draft and I thought it was over. But at the end, it kind of turned out that we seemed to have the better tire wear out of us 3 at the end, just kind of ran out of time. If we had another couple laps, might have had something, but I'm plenty ecstatic with a second place after, there was some moments where it could have kind of been all thrown away.
Aaron brought it up earlier on in the show here tonight. We're getting down to 5 or 6 races to go in the season. Are we ready to rock and roll for this championship coming to a close?
Yeah, I mean, today was a great points day. We got the point for being on pole, points for leading a lap, stage points in both stages, and we finished well. So this should help us out a ton in the championship. I always look forward to road course racing, and so this should, I think, extend our lead by just a little bit, but it's still going to be a close one. So yeah, I'm definitely focused on these last few races and just trying to be consistent and running up front as much as we can.
It actually helps me out in the net bets point as well, because I picked you for the poll here this evening. We'll give you an opportunity, Kenny. Who else is out there watching? Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody at NEP for coming together every week to run these races. And thanks to Zane for sponsoring this particular one. Quick shout out to my teammates, Steve Daddio. He had some issues, some contact, and came up all the way back up to 5th today. And Ryan Salvatore was having internet issues, didn't even know if he was going to race, got 0 practice, and ended up with a top 10. So congrats to him. And it was great racing with John and Brent today. That was a lot of fun there in the last run. So congrats to both of them guys too.
Heck of a show here tonight. P2 for the number 4 truck. Kenny, congratulations.
Thanks.
Just a little bit further on pit road, Aaron, I believe you've caught up with the Tundra Kid.
Yeah, it might be the heartbreak of the evening, and man, you got out there on that last round of pit stops just a hair ahead of John Peters. Had the track position, but what happened there? Kind of coming down closer to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, we like John said, it was a lot of fun racing this combination of these trucks and you know, relating some sports car stuff over to here. But the guys, I think the 26 crew earns the winter pit product stop of the year award or something for whatever the heck they did on pit road, because we came in second, like, and commit with the lead, and I couldn't believe it, and neither could the 09 truck. So I saw the crew chief of the 09 flipping over the toolbox as we were leaving pit road. But we're pretty happy with that. It was fun to get. It's kind of fun in a way to start at the back, due to you know, penalty or whatever you want to call it. So, and then come all the way up through, and yeah, no, it was a lot of fun today. Towards the end, just I made the commitment earlier this week to not shift down to first gear into turns 1 and then both hairpins, and just keep it in second. And I think that was to my detriment, because it wore my front tires more than the others. So getting down to the last like 5 laps, I really was struggling for front end grip. And so when I leaned on the tires and tried to turn, it just wouldn't. And so eventually it ultimately gave the lead up to John there into 1 after a mistake. And after I baited him into a mistake, which was friggin' rare, but we'll have to put that on the highlight reel. But yeah, and then, you know, side by side battle with Kenny. I don't think I've ever seen anybody go side by side through the kink and these things, so that was kind of cool, and not wreck each other. But yeah, we just had a whole lot of fun. It's nice to actually finish one of these things towards the front when you run good.
Yeah, and with not being in the championship hunt this season, we got, I think, 4 more races coming up, and I'm sure you're going to be trophy hunting. How you feeling going into New Smyrna next week?
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, our one of our sponsors there, that's his favorite term, trophy hunting. So we're gonna see how many trophies we can hunt for Dan Winters there and bring him back to New Hampshire. But no, you know, I come in here and try to have some fun with the boys, and basically the goal is to win or get to the top. So that's the plan for the next few weeks. New Smyrna should be fun. These will be interesting combination to run these things over there in a short track. So we seem to run okay at short tracks. So hopefully some high hopes.
Yeah, definitely. A thank you once again to Winter Pit Products for sponsoring us this season in the NEP series. And who helps you get all the way down here to the Sunshine State for a couple weeks of NEP racing?
Geez, I'll tell you, my wife and the kids, and you know, it's shout out to mom and dad and my sister. They always tune in to watch, and on Facebook or YouTube, whatever they watch on. And you know, huge thanks to 229 Autosports, so teammates, you know, Full Racing, House Mouse Exterminators, Michelle Roy, Remax Group 4 Realty, or not Remax anymore. I guess I should change that logo. She can yell at me now. But anyways, all those folks help get us done, make it fun. And huge thanks to, you know, the NEP League. It's a lot of fun racing these things. I say it all the time that this league is fun when it's like it's serious enough that you can have fun, but it's also loose enough that if something goes wrong, you just, you know, at the end of the day, it is a video game. So it's you know, we have a day job to go to tomorrow, and everybody kind of remembers that too sometimes. So you know, we saw episodes of that a couple weeks ago, but is what it is.
Yeah, well put right there. For third place finisher rounding out the podium, Brent Roy. Paul, I think we're going back to you.
Indeed, we are. It's going to put a feather in the cap here at the virtual Daytona International Speedway, and taking a couple of days and evenings off. We're going to be kicking things back off. Doubleheader action Tuesday night. Going to be busting out VidaneTV the Ocho as the Liberty Racing League returns to the VidaneTV airwaves once again. Just coming off that 20th anniversary of Vidane Racing race this past week, Tuesday night, as well. Going to be running the Oil Boys Late Model National Series Championship. It's going to be a tight points battle Tuesday night, and then right back here for New Smyrna in the NEP Series Thursday night. Going to be a whole lot of fun. Also, one quick thing before we close out here. Almost forgot about it. Let us know what you think in the comments of this post-race virtual studio thing here. We might keep this for the rest of the season. We're not sure. We know it needs a little bit of decorating. We might have to change the T-shirt on Aaron. We got to fix the laptop just a little bit, but baby steps. Baby steps.
Yeah, the laptop's an HP, not an Apple. So, but it's the right color.
The right color. That's the first thing in any sense.
How about that? Yeah, but I mean the shirt's accurate too, since it's one that's actually in my closet. So how about that? I don't know how you guessed that right. I don't know if you were stalking through my photos. I don't even know if I have a photo of that shirt, but there it is.
50% Facebook, 50% AI. There's my options. But in any sense, that's going to do it up here for us on VidaneTV. Thank you to Aaron Creed, Jeff Brown for helping me out. I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. for VidaneTV. We'll catch you on the flip side. And when we do, we're going to be doing it live.